The phone rang. Just as I stepped into the room, I was returning from my last regional meeting where I was representing the company as the managing director. On my drive back to the apartment, I had glanced at the weather report. The meteorological department had predicted heavy rains, thunder, and lightning to hit the region later that night. "Can we talk?" My wife's voice was softer than usual, tinged with something I couldn't quite place. "Of course, anytime, sweetheart. How is my queen and my princess?" I replied, trying to keep the mood light, though I could tell something was off. "I'm fine, but..." Our voice trailed off, hesitation hanging in the air. "Have you freshened up?" I asked, trying to interrupt gently, aware of the tension in her tone. "Not yet," she replied, after a long, weary sigh. "Is it okay if we talk afterward?" I asked, not wanting to press her too soon. "It's fine," she said, her words short before the line went silent. Something wasn't right. I felt it deep in my gut. I walked over to the window and gazed out at the distant horizon. The first rumble of thunder rolled in the distance, and the lightning flashed like warning signs on the horizon. I could feel the storm approaching, both outside and inside the house. I needed a moment to clear my mind. I then walked to the kitchen and grabbed a cold, soft drink and made my way to the bathtub. As I soaked, the minutes seemed to stretch into eternity. She still hadn't called. Finally, I couldn't wait any longer. I dialed her number and she picked up almost immediately. In the background, I could hear our daughter crying. "What's wrong with her?" I asked, the worry in my voice clear. She explained what had happened throughout the day, but none seemed like a valid reason for the crying. I asked about everything that came to mind, and it seemed she had done everything as expected. My mind raced, trying to piece together the puzzle. There had to be something more, something that I was missing. I covered myself with a towel and walked back to the bedroom. Should I drive for nearly 2 hours to them? Or should I just stay and hope it would all pass? "I'm coming home," I finally decided. "It's a bit late, don't you think?" she asked, sounding almost surprised. "I know, but..." "Drive safely," she interrupted before hanging up. I quickly got dressed, ready to head out. The rain had already begun, hard and heavy, drumming against the windows. With every phone call from her checking on my progress, the storm only seemed to get worse. She was starting to realize the problem. Our daughter was reacting to the storm, crying each time the thunder cracked and growing silent only when the rain stopped. It became clear she was terrified of the sound of thunder. "Have you tried lullabies?" I asked, grasping at anything that might help. "All I can remember," she replied, her voice strained. At that moment, I was only 20 minutes away. I prayed there would be no delays, no obstacles in my way. I could feel the urgency mounting in my chest. I had to get home. Finally, I reached the gate. I parked, opened it, and drove through. The wind howled as I made my way to the garage. I used the underground passage to get to the living room, where I could hear my wife singing to our daughter in the next room. I paused for a moment, just outside the open door, watching them. The soft glow from the lampshade illuminated the room, casting long shadows against the walls. I did not want to startle them, especially with my wife already so frazzled. I quietly made my way to her bedroom and called her. "How far are you?" she asked, her voice betraying the exhaustion she must have been feeling. I've already arrived, I said. In the house? She asked, disbelief creeping in. In our bedroom, I replied. With that, I knew it was safe to visit our daughter. But as I stepped into her room, I saw my wife walking out with our daughter in her arms. I'm exhausted, she whispered, leaning into me as she handed her over. I'm sorry, I whispered back, rubbing her back gently, knowing words couldn't do justice to the exhaustion she felt. I walked toward the bed, and just as I leaned beside our daughter, she began crying again. I sang lullabies, softly, desperate to soothe her. Finally, I recalled one my mother had taught me.
Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. Happy kitty, sleepy kitty, purr, purr, purr. Warm kitty, soft kitty, little ball of fur. Sleepy kitty, happy kitty, purr, purr, purr. Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. Happy kitty, sleepy kitty, purr, purr, purr. Warm kitty, soft kitty, little ball of fur. Sleepy kitty, happy kitty, purr, purr, purr.
I sang it to her over and over and over again. By the seventh time, she was sound asleep. I watched her tiny chest rising and falling in the peaceful rhythm of sleep. I covered her and joined my wife in the dining room. She was already lying on the table, waiting for me. Haven't you gone to bed yet? I asked, trying to break the silence. I knew the answer, but it was the start of a conversation that I had to have. Is she asleep? She asked quietly. Sound asleep, I answered. I ate quickly, my mind heavy with the night's event. Afterward, we both headed to our bedroom. Thanks for coming, she whispered, leaning against my chest. There was no need for words. We both knew what we meant. I would do anything for them, and they would do the same for me. When I woke up the next morning, the light had already started to creep through the curtains. I scrolled through my phone lazily, dismissing a notification about the rain. Before I could settle back, an incoming call from one of the company's interns startled me. Good morning, sir, he greeted. Good morning, I replied, still half asleep. So, you are safe? He asked, his voice carrying an edge of concern. Why? I asked, confused. Before he could answer, I heard a soft sob from behind me. My wife had entered the room, her eyes red from crying. I'll call you back, I said quickly, hanging up. What's wrong? I asked, turning toward her as she walked into my arms. What was I supposed to do if you never came back? Her voice cracked. I didn't answer immediately. I was still processing what she meant, but after a pause, she calmed enough to explain. The apartment you were supposed to stay in was completely destroyed by the rain. There are no survivors. The reports say it was a hurricane that came from the ocean. The weight of her words sank in slowly, and the chilling realization hit me. What if I had not come home? What if I had stayed there, oblivious of the danger? The questions lingered in my mind unanswered. Was it fate that spared me? Was it the storm? Or was it my daughter who seemed to sense the danger before anyone else? Some mysteries I knew might never be solved.